Hello, everyone, and welcome to the April 18th Product Analytics Group Sync. I will go ahead and start sharing my screen. We can take a look at the build board and then get through the agenda. Just give me a minute here. All right, hopefully everyone can see my screen. And yeah, so open planning issue will be closed out as soon as, I think today or tomorrow. It should be closed out soon. We have a couple of open issues. I think fetching dashboard configurations from the backend is still in scheduling, so I assume this hasn't been started yet, Jan?
Nope.
Cool. Logging and implementing CHProxy are kind of in a holding pattern until we have more that we need out of it, so we can probably start scheduling those out, or scheduling those a little further out. We've adding new visualizations as panels to the dashboard, which is something we're still validating. And then we've got a bug that has not been moved. So we'll talk about the 16.0 planning issue in a bit. And then we've got, what are these issues here? That one I get. First using onboarding flow, I'm not really sure about. Oh, I think these are 16.0 issues that were, 16 issues, because the milestone just started today. So why don't we just move on ahead then? We've got to determine where to put the instrumentation details after the dashboard listing, which I believe we've actually figured out where we want to put this. Kevin's out anyway, but I believe we've come to a decision about this. I think we're going to move it to settings analytics. Yeah. Though I think there's an issue for that, which, yes, there might be still some conversation to have around that. So we'll dig into that. We still have the empty state for single site visualizations, which need to design, and then upgrading our clusters, which should be happening this week as we're just starting to complete the snowplow integration. All right, as far as what's in ready for development, we've got dropping a ClickHouse connection string column, Wheel, that you just picked up. Is there anything to call out here yet?
No, not yet.
Cool.
Okay.
We've got this issue, which had received some design work in terms of a visual indicator to dashboard panels when you're in edit mode to make that a little bit more obvious, which is ready to pick up. And then we'll move on to in dev. Tracking usage of product analytics, weekly active users, and projects emitting data. Max, anything you'd like to call out here?
Yeah, I've sort of been fitting this around snowplow work. There's 4 metrics that need to be implemented, one of which has passed product intelligence review. I just need to write a spec for it, and then I'll work on the other 3 throughout the milestone.
Nice. Fun fact as well, you might have seen it, product intelligence has been renamed to analytics instrumentation. So that'll take some time to get used to.
That's going to be difficult to say. That does not roll off the tongue, does it?
It doesn't. Try saying that 3 times fast for sure, but just call that out so we can start that whole mind shift in a sec.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. We've got improving management of secrets within the analytics stack, which Rob has, but he'll be out. He's out at the moment, so we'll check in on that later. And then we've got putting an add dashboard button on the analytics listing page, which also includes kind of the adding or creating a new dashboard concept with the dashboard designer. Jan, anything you'd want to call out here?
Yeah, this is almost ready for review. It's like at the bottom of my priority stack at the moment. So as soon as my other issues are merged or done, I'll get back to this.
Great. I'll move this issue back because I keep saying the same thing for that one. And then Alan, you've got allowing users to connect their own product analytics stack at the project level. Anything you'd like to update us on here?
I've currently got an MR up for that, and I'm going to try to get it ready for review today. So still not in review, but it's getting there.
Sounds good. And then we've got improving deployments of persistent volume claims using stateful sets. Khalil, anything you'd like to call out?
Yeah, it's under review, but it still needs some work, some testing.
Sounds good. And then removing product analytics specific dashboard listing. Jan, anything to call out here?
Yeah, so this is removing finally the product analytics specific listing so that we can hopefully avoid some confusion around why do we have 2 dashboard listings. Yeah, it's in review. I just saw that the pipeline notified me that I missed a controller spec, so I'm going to push that, and yeah, should be good for review again.
Awesome. Cool. And then Max, we've got integrating the product analytics initialization worker with the Snowplow configurator service. A lot of words there.
We are very, very close. Alan has just approved it, but also pointed out that there's merge conflicts. So I'm, as we speak, trying to resolve those. Once that's done, I will hand it off to a maintainer who hopefully will wave it through and we can get it merged today.
Awesome. And that'll I think unblock a number of other issues to wrap up, or not wrap up, but just to progress with the Snowplow integration service. So
yep,
good stuff. We've got fixing transitioning pods with persistent volume claims. I think this might be related to what Julio's working on, and this could be closed out because I think Rob created this as, sorry, I mean to say that Rob created this improved deployment using stateful sets as a finding of this, but I'll double check that and close that out.
Yeah, he actually has an MR, so
okay,
kind of we are like doing multiple things which will solve the same way. So I think I'll talk to him when he's back. We might need to decide. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And then in verification, we've got upgrading the funnels API to return Snowplow compatible with SQL. Alan, is there anything you wanted to talk about here?
That one is only in verification because we haven't turned on the flag yet.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Trying to think. I think we updating dashboard configuration to work from the configured dashboard repository. Is that recently closed or? Yeah, it was closed a week ago. So I think then our only closed issue is presenting calls to action to configure dashboards in the shared dashboard listing.
I have a agenda item to quickly demo that, so I'll talk about it then.
Sounds good. All right, then I think that wraps up the board review, unless anyone would like to call anything else out. All right, let me update the bookmark this time. Cool. So I just kind of wanted to give a kind of recap of what we've been doing, what we're working on, and kind of combine that into recent developments with, the company pushing into AI and things like that to kind of help us just one, gain a refresh look at, where we're at as a group, and then, what's coming up ahead. So, not much has changed in terms of the main priorities in terms of getting what we've built so far out to customers. And so as you've seen from previous group syncs, we've got customers identified in terms of who we want to bring onto that. There's some conversations I'm having this week to be able to help us facilitate actually being able to onboard customers, specifically handling red data, since customer data is red data. Given that we don't have infrastructure support officially, I think it'd be one thing I'm trying to speak with infrastructure about is the possibility for us, whether it's one or a select number of individuals, to be able to manage our own production infrastructure and what would be required to be able to handle customer data in production, so that we continue to get this out to customers, get their feedback, and really get, what we're, the most important thing, which is customer feedback in terms of how useful they find these features and what we can do to make it more useful for them. At the same time, we still want to continue to make the experience better from our own perspective. So bringing in the dashboard designer, which Jan is already working on, what you've seen of the visualization designer, completing that experience so that customers are able to self-serve and really leverage, custom dashboards to find whatever they need. And then, as you've seen, Alan's been working on bringing your own cluster, and then we've got additional things we want to work on in terms of allowing customers to pull their data out as they need to, and then a whole host of other features that we haven't even gotten into in terms of experimentation, feature flags, and session data and things like that. Something fairly new you've been seeing in the past couple of weeks is the big push into AI-assisted workflows. So this is classified as a priority 0, meaning that, this is a big shift for the company to really prioritize in terms of the how and why. There are a number of presentations out there. I've linked to Tim, which gives it in the perspective of, engineering, but also how we can get into that as well. But that presentation also links to David DeSantis, which gives more of the product perspective of why this is really important in terms of how it relates to the business. So definitely check that out. But at the same time, we want to get what we've built out to customers. We also want to continue building new features and expanding the flexibility that we have with bringing your own cluster and things like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities to apply AI-assisted workflows to the work we're building, the features we're building right now. So I've called out a couple like very high-level ones in terms of natural language querying, trend analysis, insight generation, forecasting, and there are already efforts happening right now that we're applying at GitLab. So it'd be interesting to see how we can apply that with the different data set and see how we can make that useful for customers. But anyways, check out the presentation. There's an epic I've linked as well in terms of possible ideas. So if you have them, please feel free to chime in. Anyone's ideas and feedback are welcome. But I just want to kind of give a, it's been a few milestones. We've had a few months with since the realignment and things like that. And so I just wanted to give a refresh perspective in terms of what we're doing and why it matters. Any questions with that? All right, and then it's on to Max.
Yeah, so as Dennis quite rightly pointed out to me last week, we're moving to Snowplow, but what we haven't done is make the built-in dashboards, so the audience and the behavior dashboard that we've created won't support the Snowplow schema as they currently stand. So Dennis created the issue, and the question really is whether or not at this stage we want this to be a front end or a back end task. So if it's a front end task, we just rewrite the existing dashboards to use the new schema, or if we sort of skip a step and head straight to implementing these from the back end. So we define the dashboards in YAML and then allow these to be read. I don't really have a strong opinion on this. From a brief look at Jan's response and from what I think Dennis is writing, it looks like this might be a backend task instead, which is fine. It depends who's going to do it, when we're going to do it, and who's got capacity for it.
Yeah. So, Jan, did you want to vocalize your response first? I know it's kind of based off of my response, so
yeah. So
I should start first.
You can go ahead.
Okay. So what I suggested in the issue is we know we have, so for full context, so everyone's aware, right now we have all of our dashboards and visualizations hard-coded as JSON in the front end. And you may have seen some issues where we want to actually start fetching those configurations, much like we do for custom configurations from the back end. And so we have an issue, which we saw on the build board, which just hasn't been picked up yet in terms of like using the back end as the source of truth. But while we have this Snowplow integration going on, we refer those columns, those attributes are referred to differently when it's stored in Snowplow. So effectively, we have to either duplicate that or do something else. And so while duplicating that makes sense, and we have this feature flag, it seems a bit excessive, in my opinion, to have all these duplicates and then clean up when we know there's also a goal to get to the back end. And so what I've suggested is, while we have the Jitsi related dashboards and visualization configurations in the front end hard-coded, we should just use the opportunity for Snowplow. And, I'm more than happy to admit that it's a scope creep, but, we'd be hard-coding these dashboards in the back end as YAML to be compatible with Snowplow. And I think that just helps us be a little bit more efficient in terms of, okay, we don't have to create duplicate files that we know we're going to throw away anyways. We get to our goal of being able to read from the dashboard, which I know they're being able to read the dashboard configurations from the backend, which I know there was some confusion previously about like whether that would require schema changes or not, which is simply not true right now. So I just think it would be more efficient. So that was a really long way of saying that.
That's fine with me. The only thing we need to think of is that the reason that they're hard-coded currently is because they should exist in all projects.
Right.
So there's unanswered questions, or at least I think they're unanswered right now, as to how we store those. So, we're not really in the business of adding files to customers' repositories for them. So we're going to have to write them as YAML files that we store in the back end and just sort of add to the processing class that reads the additional YAML files in the project and just say, and append these two as well.
Yep.
Okay.
That would be it. So they would still have to be hard-coded, right? Otherwise we'd have to put them in the stack or something, or add them to the project, and that just adds a lot more steps than is necessary, I feel. So ultimately it doesn't change the core principle of the fact that we have, and they say it's by GitLab, like we have pre-builts that are just part of our code base.
Okay.
They're just stored differently, which is ultimately how we want things to be done, right? So
all right. In which case, on that issue, I currently wrote, I think it's good to go. Jan, what do you think? Disregard that. I'll rewrite the implementation plan based on what we've just discussed, and then ping you both to get your thoughts.
Cool.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to note there is I think we'll need a new issue that's specific for the visualization designer, because we'll also need it to be aware of the snowplow flag to be able to set the parameters like the measurements and stuff using the snowplow properties rather than the existing Jisu ones.
Yeah, the visualization designer is going to need a huge update anyways. And as I'll get into in the 16.0 issue as well, you might have seen an issue where we actually want to take away the entry points to the visualization designer for now, just because it's not a complete user workflow. And then with the snowplow changes, it's going to probably break more. So, so we will update that accordingly for sure. I will take that upon myself to create the issue for that. All right. Then I have a couple more just kind of advisory things, and then we can get into Jan's show and tell. Just signal boosting the planning issues, a lot of stuff added there related to the snowplow integration, infrastructure updates and things like that. So if there should be plenty of issues to pull from, but if there's any questions thematically what we're doing, especially since I've kind of just given an update on where we're headed, please let me know. I'm happy to provide more additional context there. And then finally, related to the above with regards to AI, you may have seen some people get asked to do follow the sun coverage as far as writing or reviewing merge requests. And so I will definitely let you know as soon as I can in terms of your involvement in that. But if it happens, just wanted to clarify that that's a priority 0 above what we're doing right now, until at least we can get to the point where we're working on our own AI experimental features. But just wanted to let everyone be aware of that. Cool. Then Jan, you have the final point.
Sure. Let me quickly share my screen. If I can find the button. Here we go. All right. Can everyone see the doc? Cool. So this is a setup project, as I'm sure you're all well aware of. Ignore the empty name there. That's me trying to break the save dashboards feature that I'm currently working on. This is new. So this is the view that you get when a project hasn't had product analytics set up yet or onboarded, whichever you like to refer to it as. So this view is, I know there's also a bunch of UX discussion or questions about this. If you have any ideas around this, please feel free to share it with the group, because it is a ongoing question about like how this should actually look. And this does not really comply or fit in with the design precedent that we have at GitLab, specifically that we have this grayed out feature item here. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly take you through the flow. So if a user lands on the analytics dashboard, instead of showing a 404, they actually see it. And we tell them that, hey, they need to set it up first. Going through the stages, it's going to take a while. And what users can also do to support multiple users using the same page, everyone will basically get the same state, because we're now pulling it from the backend as the main source of truth. So clicking back on it, like multiple people can basically collaborate on like setting up a project or setting up product analytics on a project. And yeah, I'm not going to go through the steps of actually creating events, but basically after an event has been received, users will land back onto the listing and they'll see the audience and behavior dashboards. And yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Looks great.
Looks great, man. Thanks.
In that case, I'll stop sharing.
I'll have to, I'm looking forward to not being able to, or not having to add /product analytics dashboards to try to get to where I go, so we can finally complete that flow. So looks good. Awesome. Then anything anyone else would like to talk about before we call this meeting? All right. Well, have a good rest of your Tuesdays, rest of your week. See you all maybe later in this AMA. Otherwise, take care.